Hello, this is Gary Westby, champagne buyer with KLWine Merchants, here today to talk about the 2007 Billecart-Salmon Cuvée Louis Blanc de Blanc, which I have right here next to me. This champagne is a current release from Billecart-Salmon, even though it's 11 years old and certainly older than a lot of the other Blanc de Blanc that is currently being sold as vintage right now. This wine's benefited from having 10 years on the lees and is extremely seriously made. At Billecart, they've been bringing up the amount of oak that they use. And it's a combination of large oak barrels and not as many of the small barrique as one imagines when one thinks of an oak barrel program, but more larger demi-muid and even foeder being used there, not to give the wines an oak flavor, but rather to impart that immunization against oxidation, that interplay between oxygen and the wine that they're looking for in the wines. And it's really paying off in terms of texture, I think, and also in terms of probably long-term ageability. The wine comes from only their very, very best sites in the Côte de Blanc. So Cuvée at the north end of the Grand Crus, Cramont, and then finally Ménil, the southernmost and chalkiest of all the Grand Crus. So this wine's only from 3 villages, which is a pretty strict selection, and not just from any old vineyards in there, but actually a really strict selection of the best sites within those top villages. Let's have a taste, see what it's all about. So, see that there's still plenty of liveliness in this, and just a beautiful green, white gold color. Oh, it's very, very expressive. As subtle citric notes, I would say more to the Meyer side of things, and certainly a real base note of baguette toast. Very, very classy, not an overt type of toastiness, but the toastiness that is there is just the highest class possible. And they get it the hard way. They get it from 10 years of aging on the lees rather than some custom yeast strain. And in the mouth, this wine is completely open, just showing beautiful white fruit, but the back end so lifted and long and chalky. The '07 vintage itself was a really odd duck in Champagne. A success in the Côte de Blanc, no doubt, but it started super, super early. I'll never forget being there in the spring with my bike, and it was warmer in Champagne than it was at home in California, which in March is really, really weird. And the growers, I kept on asking them, are you afraid of spring frost? And they were like, yeah, we're really afraid, because this was only 4 years after the disaster of 2003, where 2/3 of the Chardonnay was wiped out overnight in a frost. But the frost never came. So it was a very, very early bud break. And it's the only vintage in the history of Champagne that's ever been an August harvest, but a cold vintage. So the wines are lifted and high in acid, but they just had the hang time by the time late August had come around and it was time to pick. This wine was one that we were selling before for $170 a bottle, and we were really happy to offer it at that price. And I would say that it's still a solid deal at $170. but we were able to arrange a special purchase with Billecart-Salmon and get it down to 130 for you, which makes it pretty unbeatable in the world of tête de cuvées. I wish that we were having a toast together, but until we can, I hope that we can do this virtually. Chins.